Welcome to the Way of Mother. This is part of an ongoing group on the Mighty Networks. This is open up to the public today because it's a very special week in the year, the equinox. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it's the autumnal equinox or the fall equinox. And if you are in the southern hemisphere, you are experiencing spring equinox. So wherever you are, we are in, of course, the equinox where I am. It's not officially at its peak until tomorrow. Can't remember the exact time. If you are further around the globe, you may already be there. But wherever you are, we are still harnessing the energies of this amazing portal today. And I wanted to continue some of the conversation that we've been having on the Mighty Network. If you're not on there and you're a guest here visiting, welcome. My name is Stasia Bliss, and I'm the facilitator of the group. And my intention is to create a safe and sacred space for mothers to remember their place in the home as a healer, as a leader, and also as a force of change in society and the world. So we're honoring that mother energy, the masterful path that motherhood is. And we're creating this space just to support one another and to offer tools that will maybe support you as a mom. So today, the topic we've been discussing, Secrets of Rejuvenation, as I've learned through one of my mentors, Almeen. She has a whole book on the subject, and we've been kind of peeking into it. And I thought it was very appropriate today to talk about living a life of no opposites. Since today, this week, is that equinox energy, which really literally means there's a balancing out of the light and the dark. We have equal light and equal dark at the equinox peak, right? So the sun shines equal amount of time as the night offers also. So this is a significant metaphor also for our awakening process. And I like to look at the solstices and the equinoxes. You can see we've got the wheel of time or the zodiac here, that at 4 specific places we have gateways that open that are these equinoxes and solstices. They're marked out in the medicine wheel of the South American shamanic traditions, where it's really like a lens, a dialing point, just as the turn of the zodiac is. And we are leaving one sign today. We're leaving Virgo for Libra, which is also the sign that is speaking of balance, speaking of justice, balancing the scales, the diplomatic energy of the zodiac. So we have this really powerful point. It's like a pressure point, if you will, like on your body. You have some main pain center pressure points, main meridians that are sort of like the dials, and then your chakras are the dialing points through which life force energy comes into your body. And certain celestial events do align and like make us more susceptible, more open to some of the changes or awarenesses, or, you could say they give us downloads or uploads or new codes or however you want to say it. But I definitely feel that this week is an integration time. It is a time to really understand what the potency of balancing polarities really is all about. And that's what I want this call and presentation to be about today, is how can we rejuvenate ourselves by understanding the balancing of polarity, understanding what it means to live a life of no opposites. So when I say that, how does that make you feel? Living a life of no opposites. I'm just going to bring it really fundamental and speak about the opposite poles in the body. We have right side of the body, left side of the body, right brain, left brain, right nostril, left nostril, right ventricle of the heart, left ventricles of the heart, right rib cage, left rib cage, right arm, left arm, right leg, right hip, right ovary, women, left ovary. We have all of these right kidney, left kidney, dual functions that are on both sides, right? And if you study yoga, Kundalini yoga, life force energy, or any of the other Eastern traditions, you understand we have the two charges, right? Even just basic understanding of the human body, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, but that correlates also with your right and left nadi in yogic terminology. That is your solar and lunar force, or your masculine feminine polarity in the body that actually works as electromagnetic energy in the body. The goal of yoga and other meditative practices is to balance those poles, to bring balance, to bring harmony, to bring rejuvenation to the system, because it is that pole of opposites. It is when one is working harder than the other. If the sympathetic nervous system is overworking, and we discussed this on my YouTube channel when we're talking about the biology of Kundalini, if your sympathetic nervous system, which happens in fight or flight or stress situations, if that goes on too long, the body begins to break down and dis-ease begins. Okay, same with if parasympathetic is too long, you go into a state of inertia, and there is body breaking down in that way too. So it's necessary that we learn and we understand and hold a homeostatic place. And that doesn't mean you're not budging at all. It means you know how to correct. Your body knows how to adapt to changes, to the fluctuations of life. And actually, that's emotional intelligence too, is learning how to adapt to the ever-changing polarities and emotions of life. So there's some simple tricks that we're going to just share today from Secrets of Rejuvenation, discovering the Fountain of Youth. This is the book that we're using right now in the class. This teacher inspired me for many years. There's a lot of great information in there, but one thing is the thing that causes us to age. And I'm not saying aging is bad. I respect and honor the aging process, but there is a certain amount of wear and tear that the body can handle, and is self-rejuvenating as long as it's supported as such. And she goes on to talk about when we resist life, when change wants to happen, but we resist it, or we have some negative responses to something, or we're not liking this, but we're only liking this. So we're cleaving to one thing and we're repelling from the other. This is where aging happens, is in this resistance to life, this engaging the polarity to a deeper end, okay, rather than finding like resilience. Resilience is elasticity, it's flexibility, it's the ability to come back to center. If a rubber band is pulled, its main quality is that it can snap back, right? It can hold its shape. But the older a rubber band gets, and the more you go like this, then it starts to lose its elasticity, and it's basically broken when it doesn't spring back, right? That would be the death of an elastic band. Well, we age in a similar way. How resistant or how flexible, how resilient we are to life, we can bounce back. How well we can do this determines our age, determines our ability to hold youthfulness. Youthfulness means we're holding life force gracefully in the body. We're allowing it to flow through us. We are not being resistant to the changes that come. We are, in fact, opening to them, be they heartbreak or be they loss or some other major change. We are learning to adapt and move gracefully. And also, it also means learning how to nourish the body so it can recover from stresses, because stresses will come. And there's some recommendations I'm posting in the group on that, where you can pick up the book. But if we just feed ourselves on the physical, though, we are missing some key elements in the rejuvenation process, and that will only work for so long. So it's not just about a physical rejuvenation. Though that is definitely part of it. We definitely want to note that if we are experiencing stress or just the basic evolutionary process of life is sort of, stressful in the body. So we want to feed our body nutrients that are antioxidant, that build the cells, that, like help us and fortify us in the recovery. And adaptogens, I feel like, are part of that. So um, there are specific adaptogens that are helpful in the recovery process that I talk about in my sessions, or in the book as reviewed as well. But these are things that help us to be resilient, to live in the middle. Buddha talks about the middle path. The Mormon church, which I grew up in, talks about the straight and narrow path. All of this, I feel like, refers to this resiliency, or this being down the middle, this one pointed awareness, which is the third eye, or this traveling the straight line of the spine with your life force energy. So another recommendation that's kind of fun, and if you have time to do it during this week, I highly recommend it. It's a very different and cleansing process to go through, and that is to create timelessness in your home for at least a day. It's recommended to go longer, like she even recommends up to a week. I've done this for a couple of days, and it's very, I think I've done it for 5 days, and it's very, very, very rejuvenating. But one thing that ages us is our tie to time, and that anything that is related to time, like mirrors, clocks, even music, and electrical devices. So the recommendation is, even if it's just for an afternoon, or one whole day if you can, to eliminate or cover the mirrors in the house, the clocks, turn off the electricity. I mean, not heating or cooling if you need it necessarily, though if you can, fall is a nice time to be in moderate temperatures usually, and spring can be too. But to use maybe candlelight instead of your iridescent, to turn even music off, or recorded music. And instead, like at the beginning of this call, if you missed it, play some primal drums, or use some other instruments to tune into the now, the here and now, spending time in silence with yourself. Maybe, removing anything else to do, including books, and just being in the present moment. It helps to rapidly release linear time from the cells of the body, allowing us to access our timeless nature and rejuvenate. It's actually the best spa day ever. Of course, you can do baths or whatever makes you feel good. Being comfortable and nurturing yourself, having a good supply of food and teas and so forth, but just spending this time, and if someone's with you, quiet, not talking, or singing only, or poetry only, kind of thing. I did this with a group once, and we did a whole evening, an alchemical evening is what I called it, and no one was allowed to talk to each other. And we didn't use lights, we used phones or mirrors, but everyone could, shake rattles, or play music, or sing to each other, or just look at each other. And it was a really fantastic experience for everybody. We had a whole big group, about 10 or 15 people doing it. And it's a really profound exercise in timelessness, a timelessness exercise. So Almeen speaks about in her material that anything that has an opposite is ultimately not real, because we do originate from one source. Call it God, call it the universe, call it the one mind, call it love, call it the mother, whatever you want to call it. We come from oneness, come from one. So when that oneness divided itself, whether through the act of a fall or the splitting of atoms or whatever it is, we entered what we might call the Leela, if you were in yogic terminology, which is a divine play. We entered a play or an act or an illusion even. And even though it's a very real one and we're really experiencing it, and we go through pain and we go through pleasure and we experience all the things, um, on one level, there is a sense that it's a it's a journey, it's an opportunity, it's a school, it's a play, it's a divine comedy. There's many ways, many authors and many artists and mystics have described it as, but it being, this thing we're in. So on this week, this time, using the paradoxical language is always fun, to tune into that oneness. I'm going to just take a moment to make 3 sounds. And if you just want to listen with me to the sounds in the quiet, and then we'll just listen a little further on. And feel how it feels in your body, imagining it massaging out the wrinkles of time, the effects of time. Feel the 2 sides of your body, that they are actually not 2 sides, they are one. That you are one body. That you are one face, one heart, one mind. And feel yourself align with the one mind of God, the higher mind. But that too, you are also one with. And so as events arise this day or this week, as whatever it may be, good or bad, imagine feeling that along with, say, a really great lunch date happens. Then notice later in the day where its opposite occurs, where that opposite polarity occurs, and note that together they cancel out and bring you back to the eternal now. So I always tell my son, if something bad happens, something good is going to happen to balance it, and vice versa. So if you get really excited about something, and this is just the way universal law works, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's karma too. But so if you get really excited, overexcited about something, watch out, because there is a low that has to balance it. So watch for that. And this is where equanimity in our response is so great to learn to be resilient, to listen, to feel, but bounce back. And that doesn't mean you can't experience the highs and lows. It means when you do, take the totality of it and feel yourself in that figure 8, that dance with the eternal now. And by doing this, we negate the effects of time on us, and we extend the eternal here and now, which is oneness and is wholeness and is 0 point and is healing and renewing. And we know as moms, we definitely need that fountain of youth to nourish ourselves from. And it comes from drinking the living waters of the present moment, where we access this God consciousness, this love. So thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful day. We didn't have anyone jump on live, but that's okay. If you're watching later on, just drop some comments below and let me know how this message hit you. And every Wednesday we do a live here, The Way of the Mother. So it is a paid membership at this time to be in the ongoing group with daily messages. That's $25 a month. And that gives you daily insights and messages to talk about, to ponder on, to have other mothers supporting. We're just still building the group right now. So if you feel like you'd like to come, you can come check it out. I think it's at a week free trial right now. If you jump on, I will put the link in the box. And you're always welcome in the group to invite other mothers to us live. Until we get the group built up, I like to share this time. And thank you again for joining. Sending you so much love and blessings and balance this equinox. All right, blessings.